Prove to me that I'm breathing this thing called oxygen. Okay, so a lot of Christians like to compare their God to oxygen. We can't see it, but it's there, and we need it. Fun fact, we can see oxygen. Voila! Something's existence isn't just solely based on seeing it. Not only can we see the actual molecules of oxygen, but we can also observe the effects that it has on other things, such as fire. Fire needs oxygen to burn, and when you smother a fire and it has no more access to oxygen, it goes out. This is something that should have been taught in literally any chemistry class. I don't really know what you expect me to do as far as proving you're breathing oxygen. Like, if you're watching this video, then you're obviously alive, so you're breathing oxygen because oxygen is required for human life. We can understand how oxygen works just like any other element. We can test them, observe them, all things that we have yet to be able to do with the Christian God, or any God really. Just because you don't understand or aren't willing to accept the science behind things like oxygen, doesn't make it any less real. You can say that just because I don't believe in God doesn't mean he's not real, and that's fine, but just because you do doesn't mean that he is. And until we have some sort of a study that we can actually verify his existence, I'm just not convinced. We have tons of rock-solid proof that oxygen exists, and I really wish Christians would stop making this comparison because it's absurd. This is why it's so difficult to have a legitimate conversation like this with Christians, because a lot of times they'll just completely reject or deny science. Like, maybe you're going to respond to this with, prove that picture was actually oxygen. At which point it just becomes a game where you continue asking for proof over and over and over again, even though it's entirely proven. Meanwhile, you accept God as fact without any proof. It just doesn't make any sense. You won't accept the proof for things that are proven, but you'll accept a feeling in your heart for something that hasn't been. I'll never understand it.
I never understand it either because it makes absolutely no sense. I mean, liquid oxygen, you can see it, you can feel it. Wave your hand in the air. That to which you feel is oxygen as well as some other gases, but primarily oxygen that you feel. I don't feel God. I don't feel your God. Can't measure your God. And some are going to say, well, you can observe God by looking at the miracles that God has done in my life. Because, when I prayed and I found my keys, that was God. And I know I'm being funny right there. But some of y'all got some serious ones. It was like, I was sick in the hospital on my deathbed, and God saved me. Ain't had shit to do with the medicine. Ain't nothing to do with the doctor. Had nothing to do with any of those things. And even for the person who had, and I did a video last week, where they were saying that the doctor having the knowledge to be able to perform the activity is the miracle from God. So you're saying innovation is a miracle? Or is a natural process like anything else in this universe? It would be a natural process of learning and growth and learning and growth. You even do it in your Bible. Look at your Old Testament. Your God is different in your Old Testament in Genesis and Exodus and Leviticus than he is in the Old Testament in Hezekiah and Ezra and Isaiah and Ezekiel. He's totally different. And in the New Testament, he's way different. So even your God has a natural progression of innovation based on the different cultural norms that people had at the time frame that each part of your Bible was written, because your Bible wasn't written with the same voice by the same person at the same time frame in the same culture, but by many different people in different cultures at different times. So there's no univocality within your Bible. And the other argument that people always say, you believe in gravity, but you cannot prove gravity. I can prove gravity all day long. Gravity. And by measuring terminal velocity and also measuring the mass, which terminal velocity is basically when you take into consideration two objects and the masses of different masses, that there is a certain rate of speed that each one of those objects are going to get to, and that is their terminal velocity when they reach their max speed, based on the composition of the item that you drop, the distance to which you drop it from, and here's the most other part, based on the atmospheric conditions to which you drop it, which is a measurement of oxygen, again, in the atmosphere. So we can measure gravity. We can also measure gravity by taking a look and understanding how the magnetic poles work in conjunction with the core of the Earth and any other planet. And we can look at how the universe, our solar system actually, our solar system works is based on gravity of our being connected to the sun. And you can actually look at how gravity works, because the moon is moving about 3 centimeters a year away from the earth, and that is because the gravitational pull of the earth is becoming weaker and weaker on the moon. We don't exactly know. I don't know. I ain't gonna say we. I don't know exactly why, but the moon is moving further and further away. So there must be a different gravitational pull that's pulling the moon away, and it has something to do with the moon's mass and the rate of speed and all these other things as well, and other forces in the universe like centrifugal force and torque and all those sorts of things. But we can also see how our solar system is moving through our galaxy because of the gravitational pull of the center of our galaxy, which pulls our solar system in the direction of revolving around our galaxy. So yeah, we can measure gravity very easily. So you have a great day. And remember always, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.